I don't know what I'm doing for this one. I guess we're not doing an intro for this one. Let's go, team. So, hip flexors. We're talking hip flexors now. These are the muscles that flex your hips. If they're tight, you look like that. It screws up your lower back. It pulls you out of alignment. And we're walking around with back pain all the time. Essentially, what's happening is the hip flexors run up. They attach. One of them even attaches at the bottom of the knee, all the way up the quad, through the pelvis, like in the dish of the pelvis, and then into the spine. So if that's tight, it's going to pull you forward. No one's going to walk around like this, so then we find the extension in the lower back, and then that's how you end up looking like ducks. Not a good time for anyone involved. A really easy way to test that though, get yourself a bench at home, in the gym, do it on the side of your bed, whatever. You want to be sat on it, but not properly. Get off the edge, and then roll back so your tailbone is at the very edge. What we're going to do is grab one of the knees and pull it way into the chest, and then let the other leg fall down towards the floor. What we're looking for, if you've got a friend to watch you, is for your body and the top of your leg, top of your thigh, to be in a straight line. If it stops like higher, you've probably got tight hip flexors going on. If you can get way down low, like way down there, you're probably okay. Keep this pulled up here, and you'll also just be able to tell, especially side to side, if you've got one different to the other, if it just feels like the hips stop. And you can look down, you can kind of still see your knee, it might be a little bit tight. And then you can test that on each side and see if there's one that's better than the other. Keep it pulled up here, let it fall down. If you come up short on that and you've got slightly limited hip flexors, it's a nasty way to start, but the most effective way to work on that is a wall stretch. So what you would do is get down in a lunge position and get your back foot up against the wall like this. The closer your knee is to the wall, the more intense it's going to be. Initially, just get a nice foundation where there's not too much stress going on. And then what you're going to do is slowly prise yourself up. You can use sticks to hold yourself if you want. Get something next to you. And then eventually you're going to find an intense hip flexor stretch here. One of the things that we want to watch for when we're doing this is that the spine isn't in too much extension. So you see from the other side, if I go here and I'm not conscious, my back is going to want to arch. So that's why we start lent forward, so that I can flatten out my lower back. And then when I try and come up here now, I'm going to try and move around my hip and not my back. So as soon as I feel myself coming into loads of spine extension, I know I'm not really testing the hip flexor anymore. I'm just cranking my back. So keep it from the hips, stress that position, and eventually we want to try and get to the point where we can be almost touching the bum to the heel, and then also reaching overhead without much spinal movement. So that's the way to work on your hip flexors. Make them nice and mobile. If hip flexors are tight, they're usually weak and painful as well. They're an annoying and complicated one to fix. So get on top of it, people.